Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, February 23rd. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to make good decisions as a trader, then this will be a video for you. First off, a couple quick clarifications. Number one, the price you see over here will be changing, and the candlestick you see right there will be moving. That's because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement on video. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, LLAP, monster mover today, and now we have ourselves a very nice pattern moving into Wednesday. So let's get this pattern into play. So the key level of the pattern, at least in my opinion, is the trend line that you got to think a lot of people have drawn. And I say that because when a lot of people have drawn the same trend line and are watching and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So while there are no guarantees, is it valid? Is it plausible to think that if the price can come back up here and get a push up through that trend line, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That's certainly a plausible thought process to have. So keep an eye on that trend line right there. And then as far as the bottom part of the pattern is concerned, have some support that I would consider down there around the 265 mark. So I'll change that to green to represent more so the support dynamic of things, and then maybe make it all easier to see. Let's keep it one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big explosion right there. And then for you golfers out there, make it a little bit more visual, put the golf hole down there. So this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So if you like stocks down below $5, you like bull pennant patterns, keep an eye on it. Next one, WINT, and same general idea as the previous one. Maybe not quite as clear, but what we have here is a big move up, and then yeah, we do have this pullback here. So there's no doubt about it that as of right now, this part has shown that yes, there is this downwards channel that is formed. But assuming you do care about the big picture of things, you have to ask yourself, well, what was going on before this downwards channel? And you had this big move. So again, kind of just to go through things, there's no doubt about it. Yes, the price is in a downwards channel. However, what was happening before the downwards channel? Well, you had this big old explosion here, which has now led me to be able to draw a bull flag pattern. So slightly different than the first one with a bull pennant pattern. This one is a bull flag pattern, but same general idea, self-fulfilling prophecy, so on and so forth. But if you like penny stocks, which this one is, and you like bull flags, then I definitely keep a close eye on it. Next one, LAZR, and I don't want to say nothing was going on earlier on in the day because that's not quite true. There was a little bit of an upwards move here, but the big distinction comes, you can see down here, massive volume surge, price reacted very nicely with it. So now it's just a question of, is this volume surge just something, the start of something much bigger? And in my mind, an interesting level to watch is going to be this trend line right here, which you can see for the most part has done a very good job of forecasting where sellers are at, which puts the breakout point going into Thursday right up there around $7.60. So no doubt about it. In fact, you could probably argue that even right here, there's a bull pennant pattern in and of itself, which I would definitely not disagree with. But in my opinion, at least, the most interesting dynamic, and I think the dynamic that more people are watching than not, is going to be within regards to that trend line there, which again puts the breakout area right around 760. If you like to play more so pullbacks, then an interesting pullback level is down here at this previous breakout point, down around the $6.75 mark. So that could be an interesting level again for those people that like to play pullbacks as opposed to playing the breakouts. But anyway, look at it. Monster movement today on monster volume this afternoon. So it'll be interesting to see if this carries into Thursday. Next one, SRNE, and the good times may very well be over on this one. As I alluded to in yesterday's video, yeah, the price was turning around, but you did have to keep in mind the concept of this was all occurring after a very nasty downwards move here. So you certainly got a great bounce, and who knows, the bounce could have been, obviously continued, but now the failure of this pattern that I drew yesterday, specifically, the breaking down below that green line as support there, and then secondarily, the breaking down through of that purple line there, the 50-period moving average, just a couple of things that kind of compounded on themselves in terms of just how bearish it was. But of course, there are no guarantees, so that doesn't mean that the price is for sure going to continue on down. But if you were to force me into a corner and say, how do you think it's going to continue to go? I would say this thing probably picks up some more momentum and could very well at this point head back down to that 18-cent mark and test that level of support. And at that point, things get very, very interesting again, because last time the price was down around that area, you can see down here, there was a very nice bounce that followed. Is that guaranteed to happen again? Of course not, but it does make that level and area very interesting. But if I'm totally wrong and the price all of a sudden decides to start to turn back up, then the main area of resistance will be that purple line there, 50-period moving average, currently valued at 32 cents. Next one here, AMC, and this is somewhat of a tricky chart to talk about because it really does depend on your perspective, meaning if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, and you're buying up around this area of the chart, well then yeah, from that very narrow term perspective, things look bad because there was a pullback today. You can't deny that. However, if you care about the bigger picture point of view, overall the chart looks fantastic. Higher highs, higher lows, and from a trend building perspective, that's what it's all about. And even for those of you that watched yesterday's video, I drew in that pattern right there, and you can see that this pattern has been broken to the upside, which is where those higher lows come into play. So even with the pullback, still put in higher lows. So like I said, is this a bad or good looking chart? That really depends on what your game plan and strategy going in was. But as far as new levels are concerned, the newest area of support right there at the $6 mark, which is basically the bottom part of this consolidation. And if the price does head back up, then you can see that there was quite a bit of problems up here right around the 670 mark. That doesn't mean that the price can't be broken or pushed through that level. I'm just saying that the price spent quite a bit of time up around that area and could never quite push through. But all in all, higher highs and higher lows is the name of the game. Real quickly, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online training that I'm offering very soon. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then certainly get signed up for the free live training. Next one here, Coin, C-O-I-N, and just had earnings. Started off the day very strong during that opening 30 minutes, but then really, got pushed back to the downside here, which makes and creates some interesting dynamics here. So as far as the support standpoint and the level that I'm curious in is going to be right down here at that $58 mark. You can see $58 did do a good solid job several occasions of holding strong right there. But it just, begs the question, if the price does come back down and get to that level, I mean, in my mind, it's very valid to think that if that level fails, that could create quite a bit of downwards pressure. However, I could be wrong, and that's why risk management matters, because I can also see the opposite side of the coin where you're saying, well, what are you talking about, Clay? The past couple of times the price has been down here, it's bounced. So I do see that too. I can see the price coming down there and potentially bouncing back to the upward side. So again, somebody's going to be right, somebody would be wrong, but the underlying dynamic here is that all parties are interested in building trade plans based around that $58 mark because it certainly is a very key level. So from that angle, I would definitely keep an eye on 58. If the price does bounce back upwards, main level of resistance that I'd be curious about right up there at that level of $61.71. So keep an eye on that. But all in all, Coin, it's at least for me and my strategy, nice stock to trade, and one that, like I said, if this comes back down to 58, I will be very, very interested. Next one, NIO. Been a while since I've updated it, but broadly speaking, that green line has done a good job of, holding that support. Like I said, not exactly. You've had a couple times where the price has gone below it, but like I said, generally speaking, has done a good job. But now that we do have more data, I am going to go ahead and adjust that level because with the additional data that we have, it really seems as though the most accurate level to call it is right down there at $9.91. So $9.91 going to be a key level to watch moving forward, which again, like you see here, after that adjustment, you can see directly bounced off it, basically bounced off it, directly bounced off of it. So a lot of buyers as of now seemingly down around that level. So does that mean that the buyers are guaranteed to stay down there? Of course not, but does it make it rational to think that if the price goes back down there once again, that it could find buyers, could get a bid, and then get another bounce? Yeah, that's certainly a plausible thought process to have. In terms of levels of resistance, main dynamic here is going to be that trend line right there. So puts the breakout area right there around, let's just call it $10.20. But yeah, in my mind, the most interesting dynamic here is down around that $9.90 mark. But if you're someone that likes to play more so potential reversals, then that $10.20 mark could be the leading indicator of some sort of bigger move to the upside if the price can break up through it. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and overall, a good respectable day, considering how nasty the opening part of the day was, where the price dropped all the way down there and then was able to battle all the way back up here. So like I said, all things considered, I'd consider, today, apparently I like to say consider, but I'd say consider, I almost said it again. I would say today was a good solid day. So in fact, let me zoom in here. In the very near term, the level of support, and as somebody that watches Tesla on a daily basis, that pink line there, 200 period moving average, really stands out like a sore thumb. I mean, look at how well the price has been respecting that area. So that's going to be a main level to watch. Current value of that, let's just call it $198. But if this price continues in the upwards direction, then main area in the very near term is going to be that purple line resistance right there, right, and which is valued at 203. As far as more so kind of broader levels, if that level, or if this level of support does not hold the 200 period moving average, the next level that could very well come back into play will be those lows from today, which were down there at, let's just call it the 192 mark. If the price can push it up through that 50 period moving average, the next overarching level of resistance is going to be right up there around that 208 mark. But like I said, in the nearer term, very, very interesting to see how the price respects and behaves in regards to both of those levels. Next one, BOIL, which is an ETF that follows along with just natural gas prices. But overall, it's just an ETF that moves relatively quickly, and it's in a popular price range. So I want to get things updated. I don't know if I've ever done this one. I'm not sure why. But like I said, ETF and a very volatile ETF, as you can see, not that long ago. Well, I guess depending on your reference point there, but several months ago, this thing up over into the 30s and 40s, and now we're talking about something that's down here, below $5. So that's what I mean. It can move and move quickly. But today, good solid move where you consider where it was on Tuesday, and all of a sudden it's up to that level. So is this the start of a bigger bounce? Let's just see if it can show some signs of progress. What I mean by showing a sign of progress, we'll stand up above $4.60. Because if the price comes down here, bounces around and then heads back up, what would you have in that situation? Well, you would have a low there, a low there. If you envision those as stair-steps, you would have stair-steps progressing in the upwards direction, hence a sign of progress. So that's why I would say, in my mind, $4.60 is very, very important, because that's what's showing whether or not the price is making progress, or if the price breaks through it, then that would basically imply that the price has gone right back to where it started, which is not exactly a sign of genuine power. If the price does try to turn back up, then the resistance in this situation currently pretty glaring, all about that purple line there, that 50 period moving average, which you can see basically 4 candles in a row rejected the price back down. So like I said, if there is any sort of bounce back upwards, then keep an eye on that purple line, the 50 period moving average. Next, TQQQ, which is an ETF that follows the NASDAQ. So if you think that the NASDAQ market is going to rise, then this one will also rise. Big difference, just allows you access at a lower price point. And just once again, lower lows. But what makes this a little interesting, and I'm just going to get these lines out of here because I don't want to have clutter and confusion. But in my mind, and I don't make any claim that this is a special skill. This is a great discovery. In fact, it's my claim that a lot of people have noticed this dynamic, which brings once again in that talking point of self-fulfilling prophecies. But notice how the price has really done a good job of respecting that 2205 mark. So much so that you have low number 1, low number 2. So potentially, do we have a double bottom set up in the making? Now, to be very clear, maybe we don't. Maybe this thing just continues on down. That's why risk management matters. But that is a two-sided coin because, well, maybe this is a double bottom, and maybe this thing is getting ready to make a very respectable bounce back in the upwards direction. Not a full-blown reversal. I'm not saying that, but it doesn't have to, because from a risk-reward standpoint, assuming you're going to be disciplined relative to what's being risked compared to the potential reward, even if it's just a dead cat bounce, you could structure yourself a very, very solid trade plan. But like I said, anyway, look at it. That's the question that I think most people are asking is this a double bottom pattern? Is there going to be some sort of bounce? So certainly a very, interesting and key question right now, not only for this one, but also for the NASDAQ market as a whole. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the class. Like I said, it'll be very soon, Thursday, February 23rd at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, do 2 things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment below, tell me hi, tell me what you traded today, tell me what you're watching for tomorrow. So thanks again for watching. Get signed up for that class. Hit the like button, leave a comment down below.